I had always believed my marriage to Emily was stable. We had been together for over a decade, shared a home, and raised a child together. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. Friends and family often commented on how strong our bond appeared, how enviable our life seemed. But over the past several months, subtle signs began to unsettle me. Late nights, secretive phone calls, unexplained absences, and strange excuses.
Deep down, a nagging suspicion refused to leave me, though I tried to dismiss it as paranoia. One evening, my worst fears were confirmed in a way I never could have imagined.
I came home earlier than usual and heard noises coming from our bedroom. Quietly, I moved closer and, to my shock, found Emily in bed with another man. Every fiber of my being screamed in disbelief. The betrayal was raw and brutal, but I knew I had to act with strategy. I couldn't confront them recklessly. I needed them to face the consequences of their choices fully. I quietly retreated and hid in the closet, observing everything. From that vantage point, I recorded audio and video evidence, capturing every conversation, every whisper, and every laugh shared between them that was meant to be secret. Their arrogance and audacity were breathtaking. They had no idea I was there, silently documenting their betrayal. In that moment, I realized that true revenge would require patience, precision, and a calculated plan. Once I had enough evidence, I devised my nuclear revenge. First, I confronted her lover. Using the recordings as proof, I made him understand the consequences of his actions. He had assumed he could manipulate and enjoy the affair without repercussions, but he was wrong. Shock, panic, and fear filled his eyes as he realized he had been completely exposed. The confidence he had carried into our home evaporated instantly. Next, I confronted Emily with the evidence in a calm, deliberate manner. There was no shouting, no dramatic tantrums, just cold, undeniable proof of her betrayal. The realization hit her hard. She had gambled with trust, loyalty, and family, and now faced the consequences of every choice she had made. I filed for divorce immediately, prioritizing custody arrangements for our child to ensure stability and emotional security. Financial settlements were calculated not only to meet legal requirements, but also to reflect the emotional and psychological toll of her infidelity. She had lost everything she had once taken for granted, but legal action alone wasn't enough. I wanted to reclaim my life completely. I moved out with our child, cut all communication, and removed Emily's influence from my life entirely. The absence itself became punishment. She had no opportunity to plead, negotiate, or manipulate her way back into my life. By vanishing from her orbit, I reclaimed control, dignity, and peace of mind. In the weeks that followed, I focused entirely on rebuilding stability and normalcy for myself and my child. Routine, emotional support, and trusted friends became my pillars. Emily, meanwhile, faced the fallout of her audacity. Her credibility, reputation, and influence over my life were destroyed. The exposure of her affair and her lover's betrayal amplified the consequences, leaving both accountable in ways they hadn't anticipated. Reflecting on the ordeal, I realized that true revenge isn't about public humiliation, shouting, or dramatic confrontations. It's about strategy, timing, and reclaiming control. By documenting the affair from the closet, confronting both Emily and her lover, filing for divorce, and disappearing from her life entirely, I ensured that the consequences were swift, undeniable, and permanent. Emily had assumed she could cheat with impunity, flaunt her betrayal, and continue life as usual. She was wrong. Her choices reshaped our lives, and through careful, deliberate action, I reclaimed dignity, authority, and the ability to rebuild a future free from deception. In time, I noticed how completely the tables had turned. Emily and her lover tried to reach out, apologize, or manipulate situations to regain control, but I ignored them completely. Every attempt was met with silence. The humiliation, legal consequences, and complete removal of control became her punishment. Meanwhile, I focused on what mattered most: my child, my peace, and rebuilding a life that was no longer marred by deception. Ultimately, this story is one of betrayal, calculated revenge, and empowerment. A cheating wife and her lover believed they could act without consequences, but strategy, evidence, and decisive withdrawal ensured accountability. Emily gambled with trust and lost. The lesson was clear: betrayal has consequences, and some actions cannot be forgiven, forgotten, or ignored. This experience taught me something vital. Sometimes, the most devastating revenge isn't about anger or confrontation. It's about reclaiming control over your life, protecting what matters most, and ensuring that those who betrayed you face the full weight of their choices. By acting strategically, patiently, and decisively, I transformed my pain into power, turning a humiliating betrayal into a catalyst for a stronger, more independent life.